Welcome to Ashland Talks, and today we're gonna discuss a lot about self-discipline and finding the purpose and how the things work, and especially when it's come to CEO level and the people who are facing a lot of troubles and traumas in their mind and around them. So they are
Mm,
looking for relief, and some people addicted to some kind of addictions, which is not good for health and all. But at the
mhm.
end, some people motivate themselves and come forward and trying to focus on their goal at some point. So for this kind of people, they need a track and they need a motivation. So which is very essentially important. So what do you think about this kind of people and what will motivate them to come out from some difficult situations?
Well, there's a few different things, right? And when we go after, something that we really, really want, we have to have a really strong foundational why. Why do you want this? And if you do not have that sense of like purpose and meaning that is incredibly attached to kind of who you are as a person, to the core essential part of you, um, it's going to be a lot harder for you to actualize, for you to stay on track, for you to keep going, because we need to have that fallback why, and sometimes it's just providing for a family. Sometimes it's like this deep sense of dharma, or like this purpose for like who you are and what you're meant to bring forth in this life, right? And so when we have that thing to attach ourselves to, we can kind of go back to that and remind ourselves why we need to stay disciplined. And a lot of times when it comes to self-discipline, we think that that's something that, oh, I'm, leaving myself out of this situation, or I'm, like this is no fun, those kinds of things. But we have to rearrange our mindsets to realize that self-love and self-care is self-discipline. And sometimes doing the things that feel harder to keep up with just need us to be able to rearrange and attach our why to it so that we can remind ourselves, oh, yeah, I'm doing this from a place of love, not from a place of self-loathing or frustration, or, from those more negative places.
Wow. When it's come to executive level and some business entrepreneurs, actually, and we have seen some histories like, let's say, Steve Jobs, who have started Apple Incorporation and who have succeeded. At some point, he was broke a lot and he bounced back to the successing position. So, this kind of ability we've seen and we are heard and we are reading from history, but in some point when we're trying to follow them, some kind of obstacle, when it may be a mindset or a family background or the countries they are living in, so some kind of surroundings they're trying to block on. But actually it's not an obstacle if they think in a wise way and if their target is clear on their mind. But some people are trying to affect by those kind of external factors. So, how a person can overcome this kind of external factors when it's come to the target and their positive thinking?
Oh, that's a really good question, because any entrepreneur, any person that is, in that executive role of leadership, of determination to, start up their own business, or to do something really big with their lives, right? Like where you're going to not only change your life, but change the life of others. You're going to kind of end up at one point or another going in the dark, basically, where nobody else has ever done this before, and there's gonna be obstacles. It's guaranteed, pretty
Yeah.
much, that you are going to face hard times, that you're going to meet rejections, that you have to go in with the understanding that this is going to be hard and I'm going to keep doing it anyway. And that's why, when it comes right back around to what I had previously said, having that foundational why of what you're doing, but why you're doing it, so that you can continually reinsert those positive affirmations, those positive ways of thinking. And then, of course, you have to have, and I have found this for myself, you have to find mentorship. You have to find somebody else out there that has gotten through it and has done what it is you're trying to do, or something along the lines of it, so that you have that guiding light. You have that point of reference. You have somebody that has been through it and can help you keep going. So mentorship is a huge part of mastery, because they're going to help you, with the foundation. They're going to help you with the middle. They're going to help you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and support you as get through this mentally, emotionally, and physically. So it's just really important to take care of yourself in all of those ways. Sometimes we think, oh, okay, I'm having this hectic thought. This is all mental. But sometimes it's, or not sometimes, it's always attached to you physically and emotionally as well. So it's taking care of yourself in all those areas, um, and having that mentor to keep you grounded and keep you moving forward.
Wow. And just when it's come to motivation and the life obstacles, so we see seeing a link between the mind and body. So how are you seeing this point when I'm saying mind and body?
Oh, yeah, I see it very easily and very well, and always really have for myself. We have a brain and we have a foot. We have
Mhm.
a finger. We have all of these different things, and they're all tools. Your brain is just one of all the tools, just like your gut, just like your hands and our ability to speak. And separating yourself from the idea that you have to understand that you are not your thoughts. You can actually rearrange your thoughts and use your thoughts as a tool to support you. And when you see that your brain is just another organ, the same way your gut is, right? So it is the body, right? The mind is the body. So when you recognize that they are all part of the same whole part thing, then it's going to get so much easier for you to recognize how to transform your energy, how to transform your thoughts, how to transform your physicality, etc., etc.
Great. And Jessa, I have heard in a lot of places, even I think in your podcast also, that the world is looks like a matrix and it's all programmed, and we are players actually, and we're trying to play and win the game in the world, which is programmed already by someone else, and we're trying to focus on our goals. So how you seeing these two portions that artificially made world, and we trying to focus on our goal, and how this path will be, how the obstacles will be when we think about this angle?
Yeah, I actually read a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's a really interesting, very old book, but it talks about how life is a game of sorts, right? And it really is about this conscious awakening and becoming truly self-aware of ourselves on a subconscious, conscious, super conscious level, so that we can optimize our characters, right? Our human experience to be able to win this game of life. Um, which is kind of along the lines of stepping out of the matrix, right? If you will, and requires the number one thing self-awareness. Socrates said, know thyself.
Hmm.
It is the key to unlocking your true potential. Because if you know you, and if you optimize yourself and love yourself and move according to your truth and in alignment with who you are, that is where real, true, incredible magic will happen for anyone. Just whether they're a stay-at-home mother or, this powerful CEO.
Wow. And just we have seen a lot of manifestation happening around us that some people, especially in top positions like CEO and all, they write their goals like 20 to 25 times every day morning, or saying
Mm,
that themselves that I want to be the best businessman in the world, seeing the mirror and telling themselves. And
mm,
they're trying to post some big articles in social medias, like saying that I can do it, I can achieve it, but it's private. No one can see. They're posting themselves to manifest themselves. So this kind of habitual things, how it will become reality, and how you seeing the power of word and the letters impact the whole life of a person.
So there's a saying that words are spells. That's why it's
Mm,
called spelling.
yeah.
Because words have significant power. When you say, I feel X, you are leaning into that feeling, and words have energy. The word hate has like an entirely different energy versus love. You immediately feel different when you hear these words, right? And so affirmations can be an incredibly powerful tool towards manifestation. And that leads into mantras, right? And the ability to kind of fine tune these affirmations and these intentions into kind of like a song that resonates with your entire being. We are 72% water. We actually vibrate with sound. And when we use specific words to kind of reverberate physically and mentally, emotionally inside of ourselves, they impact us over time on a subconscious level. And getting into that subconscious level is the key towards um, truly being able to manifest what you want. Because when you believe something, it is true. If you believe you are poor and sick, you're going to be poor and sick. If you
Mm,
want to become rich and famous and healthy, you have to believe that about yourself every day. And so words are a powerful, powerful tool, not only as a mantra to kind of repeat to yourself, but to state out loud and into the world and to others, but then also to write. Because when it's put on paper, when it's put out there, it becomes physical. And that in itself is a manifestation. It's a creation. So yes, words are spells.
wow. And just we have seen in practical scenarios that in corporate levels, the CEOs, when it's come to top position C-suite employees, they isolate themselves when it's come to the in hierarchical level. When we become a manager, senior manager, and corporate executive, and COO and CEO, and the top position, and the director level post, so at that point the surrounding people associated with them is very little. It's like isolating themselves. So actually isolating themselves or ourselves, which will give any kind of power, or it giving time to focus on some work, or it's better to be with a lot of people surrounding with us? And how do you seeing these two type of people, and what is your opinion on it?
Yes, that's an excellent question as well. So I am the former director of brand operations and partnerships for Sachet. one of the original non-alcoholic bottle shops that launched a couple years ago. And, I kind of noticed for myself as I was stepping into an executive role that I needed to level up the people that I was surrounding myself with, right? I needed mentors that were above me.
Mm.
And however, I also needed to understand and still connect with my team below me because when you're at this executive level, you are a leader. And to be a good leader, to um, step into a leadership role is so, so important because you are supporting everyone else. And what you do is impacting everyone else. So you need to spend time with them. You need to see them. You need to understand and remember for yourself where you were when you were there. Just like you are understanding yourself and where you used to be, right? But it's very important when you get to this level of rising up in the ranks, right? That we look up even more, find those mentors, find the right connections to keep us on that higher vibration. Speaking of manifestation, if you are really wanting to manifest something bigger, better for yourself, you have to put yourself in the room of what is bigger and better. And that includes people.
Wow. And so that means being isolated is good compared to being with a lot of people.
No, I would say that it needs to be a balance. It is very important for us to be able to isolate ourselves just enough to truly be self-aware and to take care of ourselves and nourish ourselves. But we should never isolate ourselves to the point that we're not seeing the rest of the world around us. So it needs to be a healthy balance between the both.
Wow. And just with that note, or actually top of that, that some leaders are very good with getting work from some people, like lovely words, and they are cheering up the people, and always increments will be there, and they know how to get work without hurting someone. At the same time, there are some leaders, actually, they focus more on task oriented. They even don't care about their employees, and they
Mm.
need the work to be done well. That's it. And so how you seeing these two type of characters, and at which point they will fall and they will improve themselves?
So, like right there, you said you just need the work done and you need it done well. Well, employees that are taken care of are going to care more about their work. They're going to show up with more pride. They're going to when people feel good about themselves, they step forward in a way that, shows that. And so if you are in that leadership role where you are truly nourishing those below you that are working for you and supporting you and your growth, you have to see them as like your roots, right? And the deeper the roots, the more nourished the roots, the stronger the tree, the bigger the branches. And understanding that is absolutely fundamental. So, I mean, that's why there's so many different leadership trainings because being in a role of leader, you need to be able to trust your employees, and your employees need to be able to trust you.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, actually, it feels me a lot because I have seen a lot of leaders, and some decisions they are making based on employees and how they associate with their employees and how they uh, getting work done with them, and a lot of things are there actually, as you mentioned, right? But the important thing is be a good leader, especially, and need to carry forward our day-to-day task to a next level, is very important in daily routine tasks, actually, when it's come to leaders. So with that, Jessa, I would like to ask, when I'm saying a word love, what do you feel and how it should be interpreted?
Hmm. So love, right, especially in the English language, is very broad. There's just this one word, and other languages, love comes with several different words. Um, People can say I love cake and then say I love you and it
Yeah.
mean
Thank you.
two completely yeah, they mean two different entirely different things, right? The feeling behind the love is entirely different when we're looking at our child versus looking at our spouse versus looking at this meal that we love. And so for me, it all comes down to context, right? It all comes down to who I'm speaking to and where I'm at. And I think that's one of the words that is actually it has not been given um, quite the I feel like we could use more words for love in the English language, and there's like, there's adore, there
Yeah.
there's um and it's just leaning into that. But for me, I would say in general, as like a just an overview, I think of it as the opposite of fear.
Hmm.
And when you think of fear, you think about like all kinds of, like, oh, scary things, what could go wrong, who could get hurt, how what could happen to you. Um, and especially in this, leadership role in the work life and the going after your dreams thing, you need to constantly face fear with this why, and the why needs to be attached to love. So we're choosing love over fear. So that's
Yeah.
how I would look at it.
Yeah. True. True. And Jessa, when it's come to inspiration and motivation, we are seeing that the motivation is like a flame. So it will be don't last for a long time. It will quickly it will be go out, and the practice and the habitual things will be last long actually. So how do you see in this motivation and how we can change it as a habitual way in a day-to-day activity?
So when I think of fire, and our fire, I think of the need for us to cultivate the flame and keep it steady and keep it consistent, to feed the fire just enough. So it's not like this burning pyre, and it's not these, embers that are just going to die out. It's very important for us to kind of keep that fire going at all times, and it's our responsibility to tend to it. The same way we tend to our digestive system, by nourishing it with the right foods, with the right amount of water, all of those things. It needs tender care, just the way, our actions and what we're trying to manifest and create and bring forth in our daily lives and in our projects with work. It Consistency is what needs, the consistent tending and the consistent care of.
Wow. And just we have seen a lot of things that artificial intelligence coming into place, and a lot of people are using ChatGPT and a lot of AI tools, and how this AI can impact on human habitual and this target oriented and the motivation, and how it can be influence the human nature in the future or in current period.
You know, when AI first came out, I can't help but say that I had quite a bit of fear around it. It was just like this scary thing to me, that could potentially harm us more than help us, and that it was taking away and stripping away of our own ability to be creative, right? And come up with our own words, because so many people are going to use it. And recently I have let myself try to be supported from it, and just the generation of ideas and the ability for me to accomplish more, right? I think of it almost like a personal assistant. I just need somebody to come up with X number of ideas for content, for articles, for podcast episodes, different things like that that I can then take and create with. So instead of fighting against it, I think the best thing is to move with it, because it's here. It's not going away, and we might as well make friends.
Wow. And Jessa, Trump or Kamala Harris?
God. Ew, no. Uh, right now, Kamala,
Why
but
is that?
it's really hard. Goodness gracious, you gave me a whammy there. I am the type of person that is very balanced between this whole idea of Democrat and Republican, liberal and conservative. I feel like what is the biggest pain in our world right now is the pendulum has been swinging from one side to the other with too much speed, and we need to come together and be somewhere more towards the middle. So, for me right now, the number one thing that we need to focus on, we need to care for more for our environment and for our world on that natural level. We need to spend a lot more time caring for our educations. The public school system is very broken, and then our food sources and our diets. And so I feel that Kamala is going to take care of those things with more care and more fervor than Trump will. He likes war and
Mm,
being and fighting, and I'm prior military, so I honor our military. Um, but like what's happening right now with all the hurricanes and the destruction in Western North Carolina, Mother Nature is upset, and we have
yeah.
continually bit the hand that has fed us, and it is harming our food supply, therefore it is harming us. We are getting sicker and sicker, and we really need to pay attention to the way we are treating the earth, almost as the first line of defense and our number one priority.
Wow. And for listeners, this is not a political campaign of Kamala, and this is opinion from Jessa. And if you are listening to this podcast from anywhere, if you are a Trump supporter or a Kamala supporter, no worries. You can vote for whoever you like. And we expressing our opinions here. And Jessa, back to the topic. So we have seen a lot of leaders, and we are talking about them and how the motivation will work, and actually finding the purpose of a life and all. And just overall, there are a lot of people are listening. Actually, they are more into entrepreneurship and startup people and youngsters. And what is your overall advice to those people? And I think some people are watching this because of drug addicted people also. Their parents might be watching this video and podcast. And what do you think, and what is your advice to those people?
Take everything that I have said in this podcast, and the top words that you need to go away with are self-awareness. Knowing yourself is so, so important. If there was any number one goal for you, whether it's you starting up a business, whether you helping yourself, helping a friend, helping family, you need to really know yourself, because if you don't, if you are not doing regular self-study, self-inquiry, self-discovery, you're not going to be able to move forward and find your why. You're not going to find the right mentor. You're not going to find the right path. You're not going to find the right goals. Everything is always going to feel confused and uncertain because you haven't gotten to the core of yourself and who you are and what you're doing and why. So know thyself.
Wow. And just one more question I have to ask from you. So you have more enrich of ideas and experiments, and you have gone through a lot of tough situation and sweet situations in your life. So actually, how you came to this portion that mentoring and coaching and to get the right things to people and how to coordinate with the people and how to find their purpose and this podcasting thing and how you get to involved in this criteria.
Uh, well, because I've learned myself. I learned who I was and what I wanted, and that was it. It just it lined up with all of who I am, who I've always been, the core part of me was an educator, was a my entire life I have supported the mindsets and mental, emotional, physical well-being of people, and it brings me so much excitement and joy and love, and I follow that love, I follow that joy, and I follow that forward in my life. And so every day when I wake up, no matter if I'm facing a fear or an obstacle or, any sort of hardship, my why is in place and it is attached to who I am on a fundamental level. And it brings steady joy into my life, so that I can remain inspired. And I found, you know, my path forward. Once I hit, that rock bottom, I hit a place where I was completely lost. I didn't know who I was and what I wanted, and I had to start fresh. And sometimes that's exactly what we have to do. We have to find that breaking point so that we can, become the butterfly and,
Yeah.
and break out of the shell and go forth.
Wow. Totally agreed with that. And just for the viewers, where they can find you.
Yeah, so on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Jessa Frances. That's JESSAFRANCES. My website is jessafrances.net. I have a membership, I have a podcast, I have a Substack. Everything is available on the website. And yeah, that's just probably the best way to find me and all the things.
Wow. I'll put the link in the description below. And that is Jessa Francis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.